What's going on, YouTube? WildLion Games here, and we have an honest review for Madden 22. There's honestly not a lot to go over, unfortunately, so I'm just going to kick this off and get straight to the point. Now, in order for these to be honest reviews, right, I try and be as objective as possible. I also like to give a little background insight, a little bit about me, so you guys know where I'm coming from. I think that helps so that when the times I do get subjective, you know the place I'm coming from. So I used to be a big fan of Madden back in the day, you know, any of the Maddens prior to 2010. But since then, it's just kind of fallen off for me. I've enjoyed other football titles in replacement, you know, such as Backbreaker, of course. That's why I started my whole YouTube channel. All Pro Football, 2K8, ESPN 2K5, and hell, I even go back and I play some of the older Madden games like 06 or 08. And you can find updated 2021 rosters with all of those titles I just listed. They're somewhere on the internet. Backbreaker, you can even find those on the internet. My channel, I have them on my channel. But anyways, those will be coming soon. But that's it, man. I mean, I love football. Like, I watch preseason football. I'm that guy. Like, I'm obsessed with it. But Madden just hasn't been doing it for me over the last 10 years. I usually do that little 10-hour EA play trial so I can do a review, but otherwise, the game just hasn't been interesting. So without further ado, let's jump in this. Oh, and if you couldn't tell before we start, I snuck in a couple Madden 21 clips in there. I bet you didn't even notice. There is no good, bad, ugly segment in this because really it's only like okay and then super ugly. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the okay, and that's franchise mode. Finally, Madden has actually made some good changes to franchise mode. It's not perfect, but there's changes. Finally, it's been over 10 years since something decent was done with franchise mode, and it's kind of just been in like a stalemate over the last 5 years with no changes at all. Well, we now finally have some new additions such as game planning every week, a coach's skill tree, and supposedly a scouting system coming sometime this fall, but it didn't release with it. That's another subject. If scouting is important to you, you may want to wait before you start franchise mode up because apparently the scouting update will require a new start to franchise mode in order to use it. Not so good, EA. I mean, literally you're advertising new features that's not in the game when it launches, and EA's not the only offender, right? Game companies need to stop selling us features that aren't in the game when the game launches. And us, consumers, we need to vote with our dollar and stop buying games that don't have these features when they launch. Like, just stop. I'm tired of it. Again, like, don't buy the game. I could go on, but, like, we're here to talk about Madden, so I'll dial it back. Franchise mode, good. We see the addition of game planning, which I absolutely love, man. This is the type of stuff franchise mode needs. It's the type of stuff that us, like, dynasty mode, franchise mode, head guys want. Like, a true weekly game plan where we can see the opponent's tendencies, adjust our offense, adjust our defense, build a game plan accordingly, and, like, build a strategy around that. I really enjoy doing that week to week. However, I highly recommend that you take the time to actually, like, look at the scouting report and do your own strategy, because the game, like Madden, it's just going to give you the same recommendation every week. Like, you see here, week 1, outside run. Week 2, outside run. Week 3, outside run. It's the same recommendation every single week, even though when you go and look at the play calling tendencies for each of those teams, they're all different. Here it wants me to defend outside run, yet when I look at their strategy, they literally do not run outside run ever. First down, second down, third. Madden, what is this? Give me an actual recommendation. So, if you're going to do this, go ahead and do your own. Just don't follow the recommendation because it's not right. It's just going to give you the same thing over and over again. But if you do your own research and your own strategy, it actually works, and I think it actually helps. The first 3 games, you know, based on what the other defense was doing, I thought passing was a little bit better. My run game never really took off. But week 4, I switched my game plan over to inside run for that week of practice. Boom. Over 100 yards for James Robinson. Granted, I did run the ball a lot more that game, but it called for it. So I really do think it helps. I'm not 100% sure it works against your opponents. And what I mean by that is, like, when I think the offensive game plan strategy seems to have worked. I'm not so sure defense works 100% in my weekly prep. And the only reason I say that is I noticed in like week 1 when I was playing the Texans, their play call selection didn't really necessarily line up with what the scouting report said. But I mean, that doesn't mean anything. It's week 1. That's how, at least how I took it, is it's week 1. Maybe, they changed up maybe the Texans changed up how they're going to do things. So either way, I really love this, man. That's props. EA, like, I have to give you props for this, seriously. The coach's skill tree added in. Think of this as like, something like you've seen in RPG or like the old NCAA 14 game. It's pretty dope, but unfortunately it comes across as kind of half-assed attempt, and it really just leaves me no desire to upgrade some of these slots. I mean, I also, sidetrack here, I keep losing staff points every week. If someone knows what that's about, please let me know in the comments, because I can't figure it out. I don't know how. Like, everything is set to manual, nothing's on auto. But every week I'm losing like 5 to 10 points for like staff points, and I'm not sure why. So like, you're not seeing a whole lot of differences in there. It's I don't know. I just don't see any creativity here from EA. Seems half-assed. It seems lazy. I would have loved to see more options. Even like take NCAA for example. You can negate the effects of icing the kicker. You can get more scouting points every week. So if you're watching this and you've made it this far in the video, first of all, thank you. But what I'm gonna have you do is just like sit at home, spend 5 minutes with no distractions, write down some ideas for a coach RPG tree, excuse me. Just do it. Just 5 minutes, see what you come up with, and I guarantee it's better what's in this game. I did the activity, and this is why I want you to do it at home too. So the favorite one I came up with was, instead of having the entire detailed scouting report, maybe when we start, we just get the overview. Like, we don't get to have a details tab, and in order to view those details of what they're calling on certain downs and the different percentages, we have to upgrade our coach. That's a good idea, I think. The player personnel tab, where maybe we could see some upgrades to stuff like the locker room or equipment to like boost morale, or injury recovery and prevention. Team morale is just absent in the game, so why not add like a motivator skill tree as well? Like, you can upgrade your coach to, like, he has like a good motivational halftime speech, and all your players get like a temporary stat boost for the second half, or for like the third quarter or something. You know what I mean? Or it could be with the third quarter, and then like the second upgrade of that skill could be it lasts the entire half. My list goes on, but I think EA just kind of took the laziest route here possible, with this broken staff points and disappearing staff points. I'd rather just not see this at all until it was like well thought. Franchise mode is nice. I actually enjoy doing the stuff off the field in a Madden game for once, and the press conferences can be hit or miss, but overall it's a step in the right direction. I thought it was kind of cool answering questions. They can give you different challenges based on how you answer, which is cool. Sometimes there's nothing, but it's it's whatever. Overall, it's a step in the right direction, and yeah, they did pretty good there. So, the ugly. This is awful. Madden, what the actual I can't believe this is a Are you kidding me? You call this a good product? This has to be the most god-awful football game I have ever seen. Madden 22 gameplay is terrible. I remember Madden used to be pretty bad with the gameplay recently, but this is easily like 2 steps back. It is so painful to play a game in Madden 22 that it overshadows those amazing updates to franchise mode. That is how bad it is. For years, we have wanted updates to franchise mode, and we finally get them, but the gameplay is so horrendous that you can't even enjoy it. I'm not even going out of my way to find these things either. You know how some YouTubers will do these deep dives into Madden and nitpick at these animations, or be like, oh, look at the cameraman on the sidelines not pointing at the play. Like, whatever, dude, okay? This is all just blaringly obvious stuff that you cannot ignore. Before I continue, I'm so sick and tired of seeing my linebackers do the same animation in sync 50 times a game. No, it's not game breaking, but it is utterly distracting and super annoying. The DBs do it as well, but the linebackers are right in the middle of the screen. I'm sick and tired of watching them do this. Is this what Urban Meyer looks like? Since when did Gardner Minshew have hair like this? Where are the pools in the Jacksonville Stadium? I can't find them. Do you see them? You really think Patrick Mahomes looks like this? You're talking about a guy who's been to 2 Super Bowls in a row, and you think this is what he looks like? Look at all these generic, no names on the jerseys, players doing the same motion on the sideline. I would call the running game suction cup running or magnetic running, and what I mean by that is it's like the ball carrier and the closest defender have like this magnetic force, and when they get close enough, their magnetic poles pull them together, and you have no choice but to let the game do what it does. So many times I've had a running back just turn into a defender to trigger an animation, or maybe I'm on defense and Zeke Elliott's got a nice hole, but he just turns right into my linebacker, and well, it's because it's got to trigger an animation. I'll break these down more in other videos because I said I would keep this short. I'm already running pretty long, but I'm not digging for bad gameplay is the point. I still have 3 hours left on that 10-hour EA Play trial period. I still have 3 more hours. I've seen enough. Throwing the ball deep is a joke. PI calls happen way too often. Safeties can't seem to recognize when the ball is being thrown either. Again, I can break these down in other videos, and I will, but I hope you can at least just see what I'm talking about at first glance. The animations look awful. Sometimes players will jog as to not catch up to the ball carrier, and then they start sprinting, and it just looks ugly, and it's inexcusable coming from EA Sports. Look, if you're a development team with 5 guys on your whole team, okay, I get it. Football is a very difficult sport to replicate in a video game because of all the collisions that happen. But this is unexcusable, and this is easily the worst playing Madden ever. Here's my issue. In Madden, it is hard to be excited about your success because you see stuff like this all the time. You see the game cheat you see the AI get cheated. So when you do something, it's hard for it to feel like an accomplishment. The difference between a game like Backbreaker and Madden is in Backbreaker, when you do something successfully, 90% of the time, it's because of your user's input. In Madden, when you do something successfully, 90% of the time it's because the game has triggered a series of animations allowing that play to be successful, or the opposite. So, final verdict. How do I rate Madden 22? I give Madden 22 a refrigerator with no good food in it. You know how when you open the fridge and you're hungry and you look in there and you're like, man, I don't really see anything I want to eat. So then you close it and you walk away. But then 5 minutes later, you come back and you open the fridge, you just kind of look in it, and then you close it again as if it's changed. That's Madden 22. I keep coming back to that refrigerator, thinking there's going to be some ooey gooey chocolate cake in there. But no, it's the same stuff as before. Nothing's changed. So why do we keep going back into the kitchen and looking into the refrigerator? Why do we keep thinking something's going to be different in there when it's literally the same thing as before? That's Madden 22. That's it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to see more content. Sorry the review came so late. My dad came into town. I don't really get to see my family too often since we live on opposite sides of the country. So, I had to don't get to see him too often and, spend some time with family, man. That's more important than making a review for my YouTube channel and playing video games. So I kind of put that on hold. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you want to see more, please hit subscribe. Once again, thank you for watching if you've made it this far. And that's it from me. Peace.